Hi there, Joka here with a new video. Today it's release day at Spellbinders, so there's a bunch of new collections and products, and I've been lucky enough to be able to work with some of them. This collection is called Mary Stitchmas, and I worked with these two dies, one of them being a stitched background and this little stitched tree. Now, at this point, I did not really have an idea what exactly I'm gonna do with this, but I started die cutting anyway. It's always a good idea to die cut from white, I think, at least to see the design cut, but I mostly use those anyway. And what I found with this background die, you really don't have to stitch it. It's absolutely stunning without it. It just gives a beautiful texture. You will see it in a second. And then I die cut the tree directly from the panel, and also just the outside or the God. I'm looking for a certain word. Anyway, the outlines, but you can also line them up and then die cut the whole tree with the stitch design as well, which I'm also going to do in a bit. But I just wanted to try a couple of different things here. And I am going with white, gray, and then some rainbow kind of colors. And here what you see me doing is the gray cardstock that I used is quite thin. It's not Spellbinders. At the moment I'm out of gray Spellbinders cardstock, so it's thin. So I also die cut the same design from heavyweight white, so I could glue them together. So this is the complete design. Is beautiful, isn't it? It's like lace. I really love it. So here I'm choosing my embroidery floss, and so my idea was rainbow, and I actually started selecting the floss, and then I realized that I have all these variegated threads, and I actually had enough for kind of a rainbow. So I'm gonna ditch those first three colors that I picked out there, and I'm just gonna use variegated for the whole, well, all my projects today. And you will see the numbers. I think I will show them in the video as well, slowly, so that you can see, just in case you're interested in buying these. I bought them in France, but I'm guessing that they are the same numbers all over the world. I cannot guarantee it though. So there are my colors, and I will also be using a metallic, I think it's kind of like platinum, it's not really silver. I will show that to you later as well. Okay, so I'm not going to show a lot of stitching in this video because it's so simple and straightforward. But what I'm showing you here is that I started by actually using only half of the embroidery floss, so like 3 plies instead of the 6. And then I realized that the hole in the middle, where all the thread comes together, is actually bigger this time. So I was thinking that it's probably possible to use all 6, which is what I try next. And yes, it is, and it looks really nice. But I mean, this is really, you know, to each their own. Maybe you prefer a less dimensional look, not so chunky, and then this 3 is perfectly enough. It's beautiful. But then I tried the 6 and I liked it, so I went ahead with 6 after this one. I'm going to actually remove these later on. And this is how I tie a knot at the back. I don't like to use washi tape, especially when the design is so intricate. Like here, there's a lot of open spaces and not a lot where you can actually place your washi tape. So I find this a bit more, well, a better solution. And here I come in with the full 6 strands, and you will see what that looks in a second. And by the way, I just want to mention that I'm doing the voiceovers for today's videos, or maybe even later during the day. It's a bit tricky because even though I closed all windows, all doors, even to, you know, so I'm really in the middle of the flat with everything closed. And unfortunately, we live close to the airport, so there's airplanes like 3 per minute. I don't notice them anymore, but now that I'm recording this, I actually hear in the background over my head. So I really hope that's not going to be, you cannot hear that, I hope, but I don't know how to edit that out. So here's the hope. But lately I haven't been able to stay up late to do the voiceovers at night. So let's see if this is gonna work. Okay, so here I'm finishing this circle up. And the way I like to finish these is with a French knot. And for that, here I'm just going to go back in the center, and I tie, as you see, twice. I go over my needle and then go back in the hole, and that creates this French knot. And then I just tie a knot on the back, and then this circle is done. And actually with this background, you can create a bunch of different designs. I think the sky's the limit. I created a few different ones. Now here's what I was talking about earlier, that I'm just backing this piece of cardstock with a heavyweight one. Apparently I did not manage to die cut it the same way, so I have to trim off a little bit here. And then I decided to trim off some more. So I think the final panel is like 4 by 5 1/4, just so that I can have a white edge, because I realized that this panel is going to be dimensional, so I will likely need some foam tape. And then I just wanted to have a little bit of a white edge around it. Okay, so on this small design, I'm using just 3 plies, and this is how I do my knot at the back. I'm just going through or in between those threads and pull it, and then place the knot somewhere in between the holes so that it's not visible, if that makes any sense. It's hard to describe, but it's easy to do. Okay, so this is all I'm doing here, and then I will just continue to stitch all those circles with all kinds of colorful thread. On the trees, in no particular order, I just wanted to have a bunch of colors everywhere. On the stitched backgrounds, I do go in, but I will not say in a rainbow order because I did not pay attention to that, but I did not, well, you will see in a second what I mean. I have the same colors per row, and here as well I'm finishing it with a French knot. I just I don't know, I started doing this with the very first stitching dies, and then since then I always seem to want to do this. Okay, so once this is done, I actually go and do all this stitching off camera. I did not want to waste time with that. And so here are the threads. I 4210, 4200, 4190, and this one doesn't have a name or a number, 4070, in case you cannot read my handwriting, 4240, 4235, and the last one has a missing number or kind of slurred. I think maybe 6168. I should check. That's the metallic thread, which was absolutely horrible to work with. If you watched my previous videos, you guys gave me a lot of great tips, but I did not have time to follow up on them yet, as in I didn't have time to look around for this wax that you recommended. I don't know what it's called here. So I have to look into that. But I did want to create that background because it's beautiful. That one obviously took me the longest because it's just horrible to work with that thread. Okay, so these are the backgrounds that I created. And now I'm going to turn them all into cards. And I am creating my card bases here, and unfortunately, so this is the heavyweight 110-pound solar white Nina cardstock, and unfortunately they are damaged on one corner. That's how I got them, so I kind of, I can only use half for a card base, and then I can use one part for a like a panel, and then the rest I can use for die cutting to avoid that edge that's damaged. That's what you saw me doing here. And now I'm adding some foam tape for this smaller gray panel, and I'm trying to add foam everywhere where there is no holes or the design. I don't like to add the tape just on the sides. I feel like that wouldn't be sturdy enough going through the mail. And here I am going to use just liquid glue on the thread because it's so dimensional. I wouldn't really be able to put the glue on the paper itself, and also because where I could put the foam tape, there's holes. So this is what I found the best solution. And to be honest, I did this before and it sticks. So I had no problem with the glue releasing or anything. Now this one here I only did because I already had that white die cut and I didn't want to waste it. So I just put an extra layer behind my gray tree. Now here I kind of made a mistake, or it's not really a mistake. I just could have done it differently had I known what I'm gonna do with this card later. So I'm avoiding all the holes in the middle of the circles. So later on, I will cover those circles on the outside. So actually, I could have just put foam tape in the middle of those. It would have been quicker, easier, and it would have helped me hold the embellishment that I'm going to add on top later. You will see. I'm guessing if you know my videos, then you know what those embellishments are going to be. Anyway, that was an afterthought. So yeah, I never think ahead, unfortunately. Okay, and here is I think this is the last one, right? So I'm adding the foam tape wherever I can in between the holes so that nothing is visible on the other side, because here I really didn't want to cover up anything because the thread is so beautiful, I think. So yeah, so what you see there, one circle is not stitched because I will add something there, so it would have been useless to spend time on that. So I had this tree here, and so I measured how tall it was to select my color cardstock here. I wanted to cut some strips of paper. I think I could be wrong, but I think it was something like 18. I don't know. You can actually probably count it. So I chose a bunch of papers. They are all kinds of brands from, I don't know. These are the textured ones are definitely Basil. Some of them might be the STEM Market. I think I had some Gina K and some Spellbinders because it was just too many colors that I needed. So I had to mix and match here. And then I'm using just a printer paper piece to glue down my strips because I want to die cut this. So I don't want to have a super thick layer behind this for now. Otherwise, the die cutting is not going to be so great. Although this shape is super simple, so maybe it would work. This it's the outline of the tree, but I did try this with a more intricate design, and it didn't work. So since then, I'm just using copy paper. But to make this die cut sturdy, I die cut it from a white heavyweight cardstock, and I'm just placing that behind it so I can add foam tape, and it's still gonna stand nicely. You see, that's where it covers up that one circle. Okay, so I showed you what I'm using here for the sentiment strips. That's all I'm gonna do to finish these cards. And I already foiled these in a previous video. These are all Christmas sentiments, and they are all foiled with the beautiful starry red foil, which is my favorite. And I'm actually not sure if the die itself is it comes with the sentiments. I will have to check, but I'm going to link everything in the description box for you if you want to check out what I used. And okay, so now I'm adding the final touches, some foam tape to this tree that I just created, and I glue this down, and then I'm only adding a few more extra things. But you know, when you spend so much time on stitching, I think you wanna see that background. You don't wanna cover it up. So I purposefully kept these really simple. I'm sure I could have added more embellishments, but I don't know, I just didn't feel like it. So I guess you could stop here, but I did add a few enamel dots. Not on this one. This one I'm just leaving as it is. And then this one, I decided that I wanted something in those circles. So I pulled out a lot of different enamel dots, and first I wanted to put these bigger ones. This is the middle size, just so that I surely can stick it down because of that hole there. But I liked the tiniest one. I like that look better, so I tried that. And you see, this is where it would come in handy if I had the foam tape behind, because that would be like extra secure. Now I didn't have blue glitter enamel dots, so I had to finish this with other ones, and they are not really the perfect match. I think blue is very difficult. There's so many shades to it, and while I have like a lot of different ones, but the blue threads that I was using is more like the cornflower family, and as you can see, the glitter ones are absolutely not like that. It's more aqua, and I don't know. So yeah, it's hard to find the right blue, or any blue actually. Anyway, so here I'm adding just some white ones that they don't compete with that rainbow tree, but they give you a different texture in the background and just something a bit extra. And as you can see, I'm very indecisive when it comes to the placement. But okay, once I'm settled on it, I'm pressing them down with the back of my old tweezers. So here are the finished cards. I really love that red shine, and I think it's so festive on Christmas cards, so it's perfect. Okay, so here you have all the cards up close. I hope that I could give you some ideas. I think, but okay, maybe you don't want to listen to me. I don't want to be an enabler, but I think that background especially is such a great basic piece to have, even if you don't want to stitch, because it's so, so gorgeous. I can imagine all kinds of white on white cards with that one. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Here are a few close-up photos. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.